How was an inventor of antivirus software found dead in a cell? John Mcafee was an enigma. He established himself in the computer industry as a pioneer in cybersecurity by creating one of the largest antivirus firms to date. However, it was what transpired after this period of his life that propelled him into the public limelight. Mcafee amassed a $100 million fortune, which decreased to $4 million as a result of the 2008 financial crisis. He was charged with tax evasion in late 2020 and passed away in a Spanish jail in July 2021. So, who is John Mcafee, and what kind of a crazy life did he have? A little over a year after his genuinely unbelievable passing, Mcafee's story has been turned into a new Netflix documentary titled Running with the Devil: The Wild World of John Mcafee. Mcafee, who was born in the United Kingdom, initially rose to prominence in the late 1980s with the software company Mcafee Associates, which at the time established the standard for personal computer safety. After Mcafee had left the company in 1994, it continued to expand, and without him, finally achieved its highest point of success. Following the company's acquisition of Mcafee for $7.7 billion by computer chip giant Intel in 2010, the company has since made an attempt to distance itself from its former subsidiary Mcafee, even going so far as to rebrand the enterprise as Intel Security. But why would a company even want to distance itself from its founder? Well, after selling his stock in the firm, Mcafee put all of his money into a variety of different business initiatives that did not end up being profitable. These projects included an instant messaging service, a provider of firewalls, and a ranch that provided flights in trikes. However, the problem started when he went to Belize in 2008 and formed the company Quorum X, a company that aimed to develop herbal medications that would interfere with quorum sensing in bacteria. Several years later, in April of 2012, the Gang Suppression Unit of Belize's police force launched a raid on the research facility owned by Quorum X, under the guise of searching for a methamphetamine lab. They shot Mcafee's dog, confiscated his passport and licensed guns, and imprisoned him for a short time before dropping the allegations of making narcotics and possessing firearms without a license. But the controversy in the shadows was when the police arrived. They found Mcafee in bed with a young girl who was just 16 years old. But was that all? Later, after the demise of his neighbor Gregory Fool later in 2012, Mcafee became the center of attention in the media frenzy that ensued. It had happened that Fool was infuriated by Mcafee's disruptive lifestyle, which included a rowdy group of young girls and bodyguards. So he voiced his concern to the mayor of the municipality over Mcafee's 9 misbehaving dogs. 2 days later, Fool's housekeeper found his lifeless body, detailing that he had died from a head wound. When local law enforcement officials designated Mcafee as a person of interest in their investigation, Mcafee immediately fled the area, claiming that he would be silenced if he were to be arrested and placed in jail. Mcafee conducted interviews while he was still on the run, up until the time of his arrest and confinement in Guatemala in December. Mcafee made a request for political asylum from Guatemala, but he was denied. Thus, he faked 2 heart attacks while he was being held in prison in order to keep from being deported to Belize. And guess what? It was successful, and Mcafee was sent to Miami instead. At this point, you'd think that the frenzy was enough, right? Well, no. In the United States, people's attention remained focused on Mcafee, and after a while, Mcafee first declared his intention to run for president on the ticket of a then recently formed cyber party in 2015. But later that year, he switched his allegiance to the Libertarian Party. And in the 2020 election, he competed once more for the Libertarian nomination, but this time he did so in exile, in response to news that the IRS was looking into tax felony allegations against him, his wife, and 4 of his campaign staff members. Later, as a result of a request from the United States government, Mcafee was arrested in Spain in October of 2020. In spite of the fact that he had made millions of dollars through consulting work, cryptocurrencies, public speaking engagements, and the sale of his life rights, he was charged with failing to file tax returns for a period of 4 years. He was also accused of concealing real estate and yachts in the names of other people in order to avoid paying taxes on such assets. In March, the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Maryland filed additional allegations of fraud and money laundering against Mcafee. He and a business partner were accused of defrauding investors out of over $13 million by illegally advocating cryptocurrencies, as stated by the charges filed by the Department of Justice. Mcafee fought extradition to the US, citing political persecution as his reason. However, a Spanish court ordered the extradition to happen on June 23rd of the following year, 2021. So, was he extradited at last? Well, the court had made notice of the fact that the appellant's social, economic, or any other importance the defense contends the appellant enjoys did not entitle him with any immunity. In the same summer, on the same day, the court stated that there was no revealing data or indication that Mr. Mcafee may be vulnerable to any political persecution. And then, Mcafee's body was discovered in his cell at a Spanish prison near Barcelona at roughly 1 p.m. ET on the same day. According to a statement released by the Catalan Ministry of Justice, everything indicates that Mcafee committed suicide. However, his widow Janice Mcafee has indicated that she does not believe her husband committed suicide and is requesting that his body be sent back to the United States so that an impartial autopsy may be performed on it. She also wants his body returned to the United States. On the other hand, in the Netflix documentary Running with the Devil, Mcafee's ex-girlfriend Samantha Herrera makes accusations that Mcafee might have staged his own death and is currently living in Texas. So, what do you think? Might he still be alive?